our economy.
Today, we have this first Australian exhibition here in this magnificent building, the Royal Exhibition Building. The most important is that this exhibition like this is really put Melbourne on the map. We eat halal, we live halal, we trade halal.
Well, look, Australia has a great reputation in a whole variety of areas, but particularly in food production, and so we've got a reputation for very clean, high-quality food, and so I think that's there's a lot of opportunities there for us, and I mean, when you look at the fact that most of our immediate neighbourhood are nations which are predominantly Islamic, so the Middle East and Southeast Asia are predominantly Islamic nations, so there's an enormous opportunity there.
World standard research and development capabilities and manufacturing expertise saw exports reach nearly $3.3 billion in 2005.
We think we can grow that area of our exports to $12 billion by 2010, so that's 4 years from now, so that you're talking about virtually quadrupling. Look, I think these sort of events help us firstly to get nations in our region in particular to see us as a source of food production and food processing, but secondly also help I suppose the Australian community to understand understand the Islamic way of life a little bit better, and also that there are enormous opportunities, trade opportunities and business opportunities in terms of developing halal products, and not just in food.
When people feel that the word halal is something which is so friendly, they will perhaps want to participate in business, want to participate as consumers, as producers. As we saw from the presentation just now, we can enter into the field of education, in the field of trading, in the field of services, in the field of science technology, biotechnology, and many others.
We produce an international magazine on halal. It's the Halal Journal. What we're seeing now is that we're getting now a convergence where the industry, the governments, the academics, the scientists are all realizing that halal is a huge important issue. I mean, the Muslims are 25% of the world's population. You know, the market for halal goods and services in the world is $500 billion US annually. If you add Islamic finance into that, it's in excess of $1 trillion. The Muslims represent a very powerful market force in the world, and halal is emerging now as really a new market paradigm. You know, what we're seeing is the emergence of really a halal market economy, of where you have goods and services which are not only for the Muslims, but they involve everybody, because halal is for everybody. And if you look at the industry side of halal, a lot of the non-Muslims are involved in producing halal. So the non-Muslims are producing halal, the Muslims are eating halal. So already you've got an arena which everybody is involved in. Australia has a very good reputation. The raw materials from Australia, the meat products, the dairy products, they're very well regarded in the market. And I think, Australia has taken halal seriously for the last few years, and I think with renewed commitment, I think what we're seeing is the government in Australia probably realizing the extent of the market and the possibilities in the market, and that the halal export sector is very important for Australia.
Is it halal? 200% halal. 200% halal. Well, ask him to come here. Brother, one for you, brother.
I guess today now starts off with the business end of the business, so to speak. And it's interesting as you go through and you look at what halal is. It is actually about quality. It's about ensuring the delivery of the product either to the table, or indeed through the process to the table, is delivered in such a way that the quality of that product is without question. The Muslim population is now making up to close to a quarter of the world's population, and I think that's something that we need to be mindful of in Australia. That whilst we focus in certain other sectors, there's certainly this community group that we need to be focused on.
Malaysia alone, 20% of the imported processed food is from Australia.
I believe that we are moving, and we're moving towards a better unified halal system that's within Australia but also within the world.
I want to see, and I'm sure some of the suppliers here would like to see us in terms of having some contracts that are not only supplying in the hundreds of tonnes, but in the thousands of tonnes.
A recent study of the IDA titled Muslims and Non-Muslims in Australia showed that stereotypes can be changed.
What happens when people get to know the other, their usual shortcut, the use of a stereotype to make a quick assessment, stops that chain reaction.
In fact, 93% of participants found the deliberations between Muslims and non-Muslims as valuable.
And that, if that was multiplied around Australia, that would change a whole lot of responses between Muslims and non-Muslims and lessen the tension.
A unique event took place in Melbourne when the local Muslim and non-Muslim community came together in a show of unity against racism.
My name is Chris Lee. I'm a resident of Coburg, and I read about this event in the local newspaper, and I thought I'd come along to express my support for the Muslim community, because there was a lot of attacks on Muslims in the media and by politicians.
Today is lovely. People here from all walks of life, all shapes and sizes and colours and faiths, and yeah, this is what it should be. I reckon anything that brings us all together and says that we're not each other's enemies. Ordinary people here, we've got to stand together and say this is our town.
It's very, very important that we don't have communities isolated. The Muslims are in the front line now. We've got to stick behind them, because if you guys get victimised, if you guys get tagged as potential terrorists, then they'll try somebody else tomorrow and the day after.
We don't want to end up like in Sydney, a situation like in Sydney with Cronulla. The problem up there was that there was not only the boneheads, there was people like the Australia First Party and Patriot Youth League, and they've gotten well established in Sydney, and I think that's a real problem.
They're very ignorant, very bigoted, very ignorant. I don't think they've got any idea about the makeup of Australian society. It's always been a cosmopolitan society, people from many different walks of life, and we're all just common people, and I think they just forget about that.
A good point I heard just before was that these racists and bigots and all that, Australia First, and Pauline Hanson's back in town and saying I've taken our jobs and all that sort of thing and blah blah blah. And when you've got picket lines and lots of rallies and all that, the racists don't turn up. If they're so concerned about jobs, you don't see them turning up to rallies and picket lines and things like that.
So what's happening here, Sheikh? Nothing. Alhamdulillah, everything quiet, under control. Beautiful. Thank you very much. Inviting everyone. Why are we here? To see you. To see beautiful faces here.
That's very good. This is a good community affair, good community event for people to come together, and it's very good to see Muslims and non-Muslims together, talking to each other, learning about each other. It's very good.
This normal life should be like this.
This is how it should be.
Yeah. How it should be. So we give this day example for the others. We are like the others. The people can sit with us, we can sit with them, we can talk with them, they can talk with us. Because some other people make you like stage, nobody can come near you. Allah, I have good story if I tell you. Yeah. Once I came from Sydney to Melbourne by airline. Yeah. As you can see, non-Muslims was sitting next to me. He was sitting like this.
He didn't move.
Yes. I can read his face. Then I bought juice.
Juice?
I said to him, would you like to drink juice? He started
relaxing.
He said, no. I said, yeah, take it. Come on, take. He said, no. Then I saw him, he feel relaxed.
Yeah.
Why he becomes scared? Because someone make him scared from us.
That's right. Yeah.
Subhanallah,
This is right.
So when we meet them, they meet us. Because when I know you exactly, when I come closer to you.
Yeah.
When I come closer to you.
Hold on, Allah's there for you, hold on. He's listening to you, hold on. Supplicate to him, hold on. He will free you from this misery.